The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, Drew, you there?
Okay, we've now reached the scheduled start time for today's webinar. My name is Jesse Hudson. I'm with the Exit Planning Institute, and today we're pleased to be sharing with you some content. Today's webinar is going to be led by John under the topic of how the Value Builder system can be incorporated into your practice. I'm going to go ahead and only unmute John's line and turn the controls over to him, and he'll be driving the webinar for the rest of the presentation. If you do have a question, go ahead and enter that into the chat box, and we can get those answered at the end. All right. Hold on one second, John. I'm having having an issue here on the volume. Give me 1 second. There you are. Go ahead, John.
Thanks, Jesse, and good to be with you all. Thank you for joining this session on how you can incorporate the Value Builder system into your exit planning practice. I'm John Warrillow. I'm the founder of the Value Builder system, and I'm looking forward to spending the next hour with you. We've been partners with the Exit Planning Institute now since 2012, and you've obviously been to your SEPA training and spent time with Scott Snyder and Chris and talking about the various different ways that EPI recommends you approach your practice. Really, if you think about the value acceleration process that both Chris and Scott talk about in SEPA training, really it comes down to how do you first assess value and understand the drivers of company value, and that's really what we do here at Value Builder. So as Jesse says, we're gonna keep this light, hopefully for you, and how you might incorporate the Value Builder system into your practice. And as you have questions, please fire them into the GoToWebinar control panel on the right-hand side of your screen, and I'll endeavor to answer them in the order in which they appear. Again, the name that we give our advisors use the Value Builder system is the Certified Value Builder. And we're going to talk today a little bit about how you earn that credential and what it means to be a certified value builder. We've got a couple of upcoming classes. One, we're just about sort of full on, which is September 19th to 20th in Chicago. And then we've got a much bigger class that we're running in Dallas in January. So those are the two upcoming classes to consider earning your Certified Value Builder certification. So in terms of our agenda today, what I thought we would do is I'd give you a little bit of an overview of the Value Builder system and give you a sense of how other advisors are using it. We'll then segue into a bit of training detail on what to expect, whether you want to attend Dallas in January or Chicago in September. I'd also like to tell you a little bit about the marketing assets that we provide our advisors who go through the Certified Value Builder training. We don't leave you to your own devices. We certainly incorporate a lot of marketing assets into your license with us as well. And then I'll touch on at the end the selection criteria that we use for potential advisors, what we look for in people to put through the Certified Value Builder training program. So that's our agenda. Again, any questions, type them into the GoToWebinar control panel, and I'll endeavor to answer them in the order in which they appear. Okay, let's start off, and I'll give you a bit of a sense of Value Builder, what we do here at Value Builder. Essentially, our goal in life, our mission in life, is to level the playing field for business owners as they approach their exit. It's our view that today, business owners are bringing a knife to a gunfight. When they go to sell their company, they are being taken advantage of, frankly, by mercenary private equity firms, corporate buyers, who realize that business owners don't know much about selling their company. And so these mercenaries, these private equity groups, these corporate buyers are taking advantage of that naivete and using things like earnouts and vendor takebacks and personal security to really buy businesses for less than they're worth. And we think that's a tragedy. We think that's an absolute shame. And so our goal and what we're on a mission to do is right that wrong, is level the playing field for business owners. We think of ourselves as a little bit like the Robin Hood of small business owners. We're squarely on the side of the business owner and trying to get them a fair shake for what they've created over years. Our mission in life is to help empower 1 million businesses by year 2030. And so far, we've had about 34,000 businesses use Value Builder. So we're feeling pretty bullish about our ability to get there. And we're even more bullish because what we've seen is that what we do is working for the business owners who go through Value Builder. So we know that because we've got the empirical data to prove it. So when people start with us, we have them complete a Value Builder questionnaire. When I say people, I mean business owners who start with Value Builder. We have them complete a Value Builder questionnaire. And the average multiple they're offered at the time they start with us is 3.5 times pre-tax profit. We then have a subset of our users, business owners, who go through, improve their score on Value Builder, get their score up on the 8 key drivers of company value, and get their Value Builder score up to 90 or more. And then we isolate and we analyze the data for our 90-plus cohort, and we see that those companies are getting offers of 7.1 times pre-tax profit, or more than double the average business when they start. So we know that what we do works. We also know that business owners who achieve a score of 90 or greater are more than twice as likely to receive an offer to buy their business. So not only are they receiving more offers, they're likely to be very impressed with the offers they're getting if they go through and improve their score to 90 or greater. And so that's really why we feel quite sort of bullish about what we're doing. There's 3 types of business owners that use the Value Builder system. There's a small subset of business owners who come to us who are ready to sell now. There's a much larger group who are curious about selling but want to increase the value of their company now so that they've got more options down the road. And then there's a third group who have no immediate plans to sell but want a more enjoyable business to run that's less dependent on them personally. And so those are the 3 sort of types of business owners that come to us. And they tend to be companies with between 1 and 20 million in annual revenue. You may target much larger companies. My caution there is that as you target larger and larger businesses, the chance that the owner is still running that company is very low. So if your goal is to work with companies of 40 million, 60 million, 80 million in revenue, the chances that the owner has gone through some sort of minority recapitalization or majority recapitalization through a private equity deal is very high. We tend to work best with businesses that are pre-recapitalization. So they're companies with revenues of between 1 and 20 million in annual revenue. And you can just see here, this is the U.S. Census Bureau data that I've got up on my screen here. You can see here that the vast majority of businesses in the United States have less than $100,000 in revenue. It's just 4% that ever achieve 1 to 10 million in annual revenue. Yet then when I overlay our users represented here in the orange bars, you can see that we way over index with companies with between between 1 and 20 million in annual sales. So that's really our sweet spot. And as I mentioned to you before we started, what we do is license our system to certified value builders, to independent advisors, EPI, SEPA grads, EPI members, et cetera, who you want a tool set to take business owners through that is empirically proven to work, is grounded in data. And we give you a system that is kind of 3 parts. There's a questionnaire which measures the business owner on a series of different metrics. There's an assessment where you give the business owner their performance on each of the key drivers of company value. And then there's actually a coaching platform where you as a coach would work with the business owner over time to improve their score on each of the key drivers. Just to give you a sense of what that looks like in a kind of practical way, what I've got up on my screen here is one of our clients, Final Ascent, has embedded the Value Builder questionnaire directly into their website. And we give you a little bit of HTML code which allows you to do that, so you can embed it directly into your site if you want. That way, when a business owner completes the Value Builder questionnaire, they instantly get their score while they're still on your website. What they don't get, however, are the 5 reports that are generated by completing the Value Builder questionnaire, one of which has an estimate of value on it. Those reports actually go to you, the advisor. That's when you can reach out to the business owner and set up a meeting with them to take them through their results. When you do that, all of the reporting in Value Builder is branded with your logo, with your company information on it, and it goes into, again, the details on how they scored the responses to the questionnaire they gave, as well as the impact those have on their score and the overall Value Builder performance overall. This is just a screen grab of what it looks like when you go through a Value Builder assessment, the second stage in our process. Here, instead of just sharing the results with them in their report, you're showing them in a transparent fashion how they answered each question and then the corresponding number of Value Builder points they would have garnered had they answered in the most favorable way, which appears in green. The client's response appears in red. Again, the goal of our process and the SEPA grads that use it is to get business owners into some sort of coaching or advising relationship, which is where we offer the Value Builder coaching program. You can see here, Final Ascent, this company I referenced earlier, has it in the 3rd step of their process, their extend step, where they offer the Value Builder engagement within that process. The Value Builder engagement is a 12-step process. There are 12 unique modules in the Value Builder engagement. It's a little bit like a Lego block system. I don't know if you've ever seen a Lego block. You get the box, you take all the pieces out of the box. It's just this hodgepodge of little pieces. You can't think, how are they all going to go together? But if you follow the instructions, bit by bit, piece by piece, page by page, you start to see how each module, each page works with the other. And really, that's the benefit of the Value Builder engagement. It works as a system that's proven to work. Again, average business starting 3.5 times pre-tax profits. The average business that gets their score up to 90 or greater using the system has achieved offers of 7.1 times pre-tax profit. As I mentioned, the Value Builder engagement has these 12 unique modules in it. And within each module, there are 3 components. There's a video tutorial session that the business owner watches before you meet with them. There's then an online tool that they complete. They get login credentials for Value Builder and they complete that tool. And then they meet with you as their exit planner and their certified Value Builder to go through the results of the online tool and what questions were triggered by watching the online video tutorial session. So that is something, that's the sort of deliverable package they get each month. And so that's how they work through the Value Builder engagement. I thought I'd share with you, before we get into more details on training, I thought I'd just give you a couple of examples, fellow SEPA grads who have gone through, become certified Value Builders and have incorporated into their practice. So you can kind of just get a sense of how it works practically. The first one I'll share with you is it's a company called Strategic Wealth out of Cleveland, Ohio. It's run by Mark Tepper, who you may know is by training a financial advisor, but he's also built a value building practice because in his financial advisory practice, they've chosen to focus exclusively on business owners. So they do wealth management for business owners. And they've got a process, they've got a four-phased process they take business owners through. The first phase is where they do a valuation on the business and a financial plan for the owner. And they're looking for a gap. So essentially they do a financial plan for the owner that says, okay, you want to retire, you want to have $200,000 of income at the, when you're retired. To do that, you're going to need a nest egg of, I'm making these numbers up, let's say $4 million. And today your business is only worth $3.5 million. After tax, maybe only $3 million. So here at Strategic Wealth, we have an offering that will help you build the value of your company leading up to your exit, because we know you need to get it from 3 to 4, as an example. That's what he calls his phase 1 mandate. So how does he get clients to go through the phase 1 mandate and buy the phase 1 mandate, for which he charges, by the way, $10,000? Well, what Mark does is he hosts small workshops. He partners with EO, Entrepreneurs Organization, and hosts these workshops across the country where he comes in and offers to teach a group of business owners about the drivers of value in their company. When he gets a gig, instead of going directly cold to start speaking, he invites all of the attendees that are planning to be in the workshop to complete the Value Builder questionnaire in advance. Once they've completed the questionnaire, Mark shows up at the workshop with their reports in a sealed envelope. He then delivers the Value Builder engagement material, the 8 key drivers of company value, a workshop we refer to as the Freedom Workshop. And at the end of the Freedom Workshop, he makes an offer, which is for a 30-minute free phone consultation with Mark, the financial advisor, and Chris, the certified value builder, the person that owns and runs the value builder practice within Strategic Wealth. Well, Mark gets a 40% conversion rate from bums and seats at the workshop to 30-minute consultation. So if you can imagine, he's got 10 people in the workshop, he's got 4 of those phone calls. On the phone call, he then offers his phase 1 mandate, which again is a full financial plan for the business owner and a valuation for the company and a recommendation on how to move forward if there's a gap between the two. That phase 1 mandate costs the client, the business owner, $10,000. Mark's got a 50% conversion rate from free phone call coming on the back of the workshop into the 10K consultation offering, his phase 1 mandate. We asked Mark recently to estimate how much revenue he's generated using this strategy over the last 12 months. He said he did 12 workshops. He charges to speak $3,500 per workshop. So just the speaking fees alone were $43,000 for Mark. He also did 48 phase 1 mandates, these $10,000 one-off projects. As a result of that, he won 16 new clients, which he estimates to be worth about $800,000 in planning fees for his firm. Advisory fees for his firm, for a total of $1.3 million and change in terms of fees following this Value Builder workshop strategy. So that's the way he's incorporated Value Builder into his exit planning practice. Another example is Jack Kearney, based in Texas, Dallas, Texas. Jack is an M&A professional. I believe also an EPI grad and a CEPA grad. Jack focuses on businesses with at least $10 million of enterprise value. And as you might imagine, as you might know from doing your own work, you got to kiss a lot of frogs in order to find businesses that have at least $10 million of enterprise value. And Jack had a frustration before he came to us, which was, what do I do with those businesses that are just not ready for prime time? They're not ready to go to market. I can't get $10 million of value for the company because of the way they're structured or some problem with the business. And he refers to those businesses as, quote unquote, not ready for prime time. Well, what Jack used to do is basically punt and not do anything with them. And that would annoy and infuriate in some cases, his referral sources, because they're referring him these deals and Jack's doing nothing with them. So what Jack started to do was he hired Dorothy, his director of value acceleration. Dorothy's job is to take these companies that are not yet ready for prime time and build value into them using the Value Builder system to the point where they're ready to go to market. Well, last year in 2017, Jack had 2 graduates, meaning 2 companies that Dorothy coached, which went on to be classic clients of Jack's for his sell-side M&A firm. And as you might imagine, being a classic M&A professional, when he sells a business, he takes a success fee, and that generally is, in his case, mid six figures for these businesses that he sells. So a happy customer in the way he structured his relationship with Dorothy. So that's just a little bit of an overview of Value Builder. I went through that quickly to give you just a high-level overview of the system, why we exist as a company, how advisors use the system, and a couple of case studies. Let me pop over to the GoToWebinar control panel and see if you have any questions so far. Doesn't look like you do, which is fine. But again, I'd encourage you to ask any questions that you have about the system, how advisors use it, our relationship with EPI to the extent you wanted to ask about that. Happy to sort of address all of those questions as they come in over the transom. So please do use the GoToWebinar control panel for those questions. Okay, let's get into the second item on our agenda, which is the details around training itself. So as I mentioned, we license the Value Builder system to independent advisors, CEPA graduates, EPI members, and other advisors who use it to build an exit planning practice into their own advisory firm. We don't just send you off to the wolves to learn how to use it on your own. We train you on how to use the Value Builder system, and we do that through something called the Certified Value Builder designation. That's a session that, as I mentioned, we've got two coming up, one in Dallas in January, for which we have lots of room. We've got 2 spots for the Chicago event, so less room for that. That's one's coming up in September. It's a session that I run with my partner, Laura Ferguson. So I'm the founder of the company and the author of the book, Built to Sell. Laura is our director of customer success. And so between Laura and I, we share the lion's share of the presentation, if you will. And we take you through a fairly systematic agenda. We start off with something called the Vision Builder, which helps you really crystallize your vision for why you want to add the Value Builder program to your practice. We'll give you a quick overview of how others use it. We then dig in on discovering your target market. And we spend a lot of time talking about the psychographics of the business owner market. We talk about something called mountain climbers, freedom fighters, and craftspeople, and how you might want to think about segmenting your potential prospect base. We then get into building your practice. So we talk about how do you market your exit planning services, how do you use webinars, how do you use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, what's a lead magnet, how do you use one of those, what do you do with workshops, etc. We also talk about your client engagement model. So where are you going to be on the high touch, high value spectrum, right? So we talk about this continuum of low touch, low value on one end of the spectrum to high touch, high value. We give you examples of different advisors in our ecosystem who've found their way in each and every kind of pocket of that continuum. The main idea, however, is that you ensure you know consciously going in where you want to live on that continuum. As I mentioned, we dig into specific lead magnets that we've seen be successful. How do you stay top of mind using something called our Nurture Cycle, which is a drip marketing program that's embedded directly in Value Builder. We talk about leveraging workshops, and we go through the 4 different workshop templates you've got access to within Value Builder. We also talk about how do you sell a Value Builder engagement using the Challenger Sale methodology, which is something I'll be talking about at the EPI Summit in September. I'm looking forward to meeting some of you guys in Nashville. So that's kind of day 1 of our agenda. Then we'll go out to a place in Chicago. We'll be out at a restaurant called Cortino, which is highly rated restaurant. We'll eat too much pasta and drink too much wine and get to know each other a little bit better. And then we'll get into day 2. And day 2 is really about putting what we learned in day 1 into practice. We'll dig into a lot of the drivers of company value, and really day 2 is about workshopping. So for each of these sessions, you'll be broken into a group of 3 to 5 advisors, and you'll work through a tool within Value Builder. You'll be given a case study where it's a hypothetical case study, similar to your CEPA training, actually, where you get a real case study to work through, and you'll be able to actually internalize the different drivers of company value using the case study methodology. So I won't go through each one in the interest of time here, but you get the idea that each of these is a case study. You'll be broken into a small sub-working group and be asked to work through it. At the end, we'll go through the action plan or workshop or exercise to help really come up with a 30, 60, and 90-day plan for your practice based on what you learned in training. So that's what you can expect from the sort of agenda, the 2-day agenda. We've had some great results. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Net Promoter Score, way to measure customer satisfaction. Fred Reichheld was the developer of this NPS survey. He found that the average score among all companies in the United States is about 15%. By the way, it's a net number, so you survey your customers and say, how willing would you be to recommend, in our case, the Value Builder training, certified Value Builder training, to a friend or colleague, and then you subtract your promoters, the people who give you 9 or 10, you subtract your detractors from that, and you're left with a net number. Percentage of promoters less your percentage of detractors. And the average, by the way, is 15%. Reichheld found that the average for training programs is 43%. And our performance in 2018 across 3 different live events was 95%. So we feel very confident that if you invest the time to come to the session in Dallas in January, or potentially the session in Chicago, you will leave there being satisfied with the session. If you do want to come to Chicago, we do have a preferred room rate at the Sofitel. August 15th is when that expires. So do let us know quickly, because again, we're down to last spot or 2 for Chicago. We've got lots of room in the January event. So that's a little bit about the system, Value Builder, a bit more detail on training and the Certified Value Builder designation. I wanted to now segue into some of the marketing assets that are in Value Builder so that you get a sense that of how we support you as an advisor of ours. As I mentioned, we don't just send you to the wolves. We're there sort of holding your hand, making sure that you've got the resources you need to build out a successful Value Builder practice. And so those resources can be categorized into one of 3 buckets, and I'll just kind of walk you through in detail each of those 3 buckets. Before I go to that item on the agenda, though, I did notice that we've got a question here from Joe, so I'll just address Joe's question here. And Joe asks, how long on average for client to complete questionnaire and the assessment tool? Great question. So the Value Builder questionnaire, the initial questionnaire, well, let me back up. We have a total of, I want to say, 15 unique tools in the Value Builder system. So there are 15 unique interactive tools in Value Builder. So one of them is the Value Builder questionnaire, which is sort of the first tool anybody completes when they go through the system. So again, there are 15 tools in Value Builder. One of them is our initial sort of intake questionnaire. And so, Joe, I'm not sure if you're asking about all 15 tools or just the one intake questionnaire. If you're asking about the intake questionnaire, it takes about 15 minutes to complete. And to deliver a proper Value Builder assessment usually takes between 1 and 2 hours. Now, rest assured, that's just the very tip of the iceberg. That's the intake questionnaire and intake assessment. From there, they complete each of the 12 modules, in which there are more than one tool in some modules, hence there's 15 tools and 12 modules. And to complete the full Value Builder engagement takes about a year for the business owner to go through, year 1, dedicating roughly 2 hours a month to their coaching relationship with you. So hopefully that answers the question. If you want me to be more specific, Joe, just add a little bit more detail into your question and to go to webinar, and we will endeavor to address it here. Roberto asked the question, did you also mention a Nashville event? Yeah, so just to draw the distinction, the Nashville event is an EPI event. That's the EPI Summit that I'll be speaking at in September. So that's Nashville, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with many of you there. That's not a value builder sanctioned event. We have the Certified Value Builder program. We have one certification class coming up in September in Chicago, and the other one is coming up in January. So that's the distinction. The EPI Summit in Nashville is for existing EPI and CEPA graduates. There are a number of different speakers, but you won't earn your Certified Value Builder designation there. You would need to go to a Certified Value Builder designation class, which again are in September in Chicago and January in Dallas. Hopefully that answers your question, Roberto. Let's get into marketing assets. Thanks, guys, for the questions, and please keep them coming. So as I mentioned, there are three different marketing assets that we provide. One is called our nurture cycle. The second is our workshop templates, and the third is our scenario planning tool. I'll walk you through those in that order, starting with our nurture cycle. And so the nurture cycle is a drip marketing campaign you can switch on for any or all of the contacts you load into Value Builder. And it is, when I say a drip marketing campaign, it's designed to be sent, the system sends it out on your behalf. So you don't actually have to touch anything. Once you click nurture to a contact, they will start getting these emails. Now, these emails come branded as if they've been written by you. They come with your logo at the top, not ours. They come in the from line as if they've been written from you. Content can be set up so that it goes up to weekly. We do a weekly podcast, a monthly article, and a quarterly webinar invitation. Now, once you switch on a client for nurturing, you can then track their activity through our timeline in Value Builder. So here what I'm showing you on my screen is an example of what you will look at when you log into Value Builder as an advisor. This person, Violet Carter, is one of your contacts. It's a hypothetical contact that we've added. And if you click over here to timeline, you can then see Violet's interactions with Value Builder content plotted out in reverse chronological order. So you can see she was sent her report back on March 16th, and she opened it. So we know that she's opened it. That's great. We can also see that she got her score on March 15th, and back on March 8th, she was sent, she opened it, and she even clicked on or one of our nurture cycle emails. And so you can start to get a sense of who is most active in Value Builder, which of course then gives you a clear sort of call sheet of people to go call. You'll also notice here that for each of those interactions, your contact is earning a set of activity points. And so we assign activity points for various levels of engagement. So for example, if they were to click on an email, if they were to open a nurture cycle email, they might earn, say, 5 points. But if they clicked on the same email as a proxy for a greater degree of engagement, they would earn 10 points. And then over time, your clients are accumulating these activity points. And so when you log into Value Builder, you will then see your contacts stacked ranked by activity points. So you'll know who is most engaged with Value Builder content. That will enable you to know who you should go call next. You can then filter that activity points by date range. So you can look at it all time, you can look at it last 30 days, last 60 days, last 7 days, last 24 hours. So you can really get a sense of who's most engaged with your Value Builder content. So that is our nurture cycle, and it is a material differentiator for us and a very important tool within the system. The second marketing asset that we offer our advisors is a set of workshop templates. So what we found is that most of our successful advisors in some way, shape, or form use workshops. Either they're being invited to speak at someone else's workshop or they're hosting their own workshops. In either case, we supply a set of workshop templates you can use based on all the data that we've gathered through our 34,000 business owners so that you can use those templates to put on your own local Value Builder workshops in your own local market. One of our most successful workshops is the 8 Key Drivers of Company Value. We've got lots of certified Value Builders that offer that workshop in their local markets, and it's a great way to build your exit planning practice. The third marketing asset we provide is called our nurture cycle, our scenario planning tool. And this is a relatively new tool, but a very popular one among our certified value builders. So here again, what I've done is I've logged into Value Builder as an advisor, and you can see here I've clicked on scenario planning. And when I've done that, I can create a new scenario. In Value Builder, you can create an unlimited number of scenarios. Oftentimes, a certified value builder will create a expected best and worst case scenario, so you get 3 scenarios. In this case, what I've done is just called this scenario Moonshot, just to give it a name. And then once I get into the scenario itself, you can see that initially you're greeted with the value builder score the business owner achieved the last time they completed the value builder score. In this case, they got a 50. The estimate of value we estimate their business to be worth, in this case, $1.349 million based on the information we had at the time they completed the questionnaire. Now, you'll also notice over here the potential value and estimate of value are blank. This tool is a marketing asset because it allows you to quantify the ROI on going through the value builder engagement. In a moment, I'll show you that by manipulating their answers to the questionnaire and by changing the way they scored on the 8 key drivers, you can demonstrate in real time how much extra value they're leaving on the table, how much extra value they could garner if they hired you as their certified value builder to help improve their score on the 8 key drivers of company value. But for now, when you first log in, you'll see that that's blank, as is the incremental value screen. So those are both blank because you haven't made any changes. Now, as an advisor trying to convince a business owner to hire you, the first thing you're probably going to want to do is show them, well, how am I going to add value to you as a business owner? Well, obviously one first easy thing, not easy, but one immediate thing we could do together is improve your profitability. And let's imagine that we improve your profitability from what it is today, $430,000, and let's imagine we change that and we improve your profitability to $700,000. Now, we haven't changed anything about your business. We haven't changed how you perform on the 8 key drivers of company value. All we've done is moved your profit from $430,000 up to $700,000. And in doing that, you can see the incremental value. Now we estimate your value to be almost $2.2 million, and that you're essentially capturing an extra $830,000 of incremental value by working with us to improve your profitability. So that's one easy way to demonstrate your value as an advisor. Now, I think what you might imagine is a bit of pushback from business owners, and they might say, well, that's easy for you to say, but it's taken us 10 years to get to $430,000 of profitability. How do you think you're going to help us get to $700,000? What you might then want to do is say, well, even if we don't necessarily move your profitability quickly, we can start to focus less on the profitability of your business and focus instead on the 8 key drivers of company value. And below the estimate of value, you can see that there are these sliders. And these are real-time sliders. You can move them left to right, and they depict the business owner's score on the 8 key drivers of company value. So one of the drivers, for example, is this thing called the Switzerland structure, how dependent the business is on any one customer, employee, or supplier. And in this case, this business achieved a score of 12. And for this scenario planning, I've moved the score up to 87. So you might imagine a talk track where you're talking to a business owner and saying, overall your business is doing quite well. There's a couple of the 8 key drivers, though, I think I can add some value by helping you improve your score on those drivers. So I can hopefully, let's imagine I help you get your Switzerland structure score from 12 to 87, and I move your valuation teeter-totter score from 44 to 85. Now, by making those 2 changes, we've moved your value builder score from 50 up to 65. Now, coupled with the pre-tax profit improvement, your potential estimate of value is almost $3 million, and we've added incrementally almost $1.5 million to the value of your company. And then we remind the business owner that for this value builder coaching, it's really costing them $10,000 a year, which is the amount that we recommend you charge your clients to take them through the value builder system. So would you invest $10,000 to gain incrementally, potentially almost $1.5 million in extra value? I think most people would answer yes to that question. And that's really the ROI question we encourage you to run through with our scenario planning tool. So the reason our scenario planning tool is in marketing assets is because it's used by our certified value builders at the point of engagement, where the advisor is trying to convince the business owner to engage them to work through the value builder engagement. We say, look, if we can add an extra $1.5 million in value to your business, and we're only going to charge you 10 grand a year for coaching, I mean, that's a deal I do all day long. And most business owners would agree. So that's the way we recommend that you sell Value Builder, in addition to the workshop templates as well as the nurture cycle that I referenced earlier. Again, let me pop over to the GoToWebinar control panel and see if you have any additional questions. It doesn't look like you do. So let me finish our presentation now with a bit of just a summary of some of the things that we look for in people to certify. So essentially what we look for are people who have an expertise in valuing or selling a business. So it could be a CBI designation, a CVA designation. We love the CPA designation because we know that you go through a rigorous process to earn that. We also look for business owners, advisors who are happy to work with companies with between 1 and 20 million in annual revenue. Again, it can be fun to whale hunt and focus on companies that are much larger in revenue, but our experience is that the value an exit planner can offer diminishes precipitously as you go up in terms of company size, because exit planning is great when you're working with an owner. But our experience is that once you get into companies of $50, $100 million of revenue, the ownership in the company is distributed. And usually there's a professional manager in place, and it's no longer kind of owner-operated. Really, the owner-operated businesses that we see exit planners having the material impact on are those businesses that are recapitalization. They're kind of $1 to $20 million businesses that are still owner-operated. And if you did distill that sort of quantitative or objective measurements, the things that we look for in candidates to certify, and sort of put it up to a higher level of a qualitative view, we're essentially looking for advisors whom a business owner would trust with their life. Because as you know, for a lot of businesses, their business is their life, right? So we're looking for advisors who are trustworthy, who are experienced, who are credible, and who will represent us, frankly, well in the marketplace. So again, we've got a class coming up in Chicago, and we also have a class in Dallas. We've got a lot more seats for the Dallas session in January 2019. We've got a couple seats left for the Chicago session in the third week in September. If either of those are of interest to you, what I would ask you to do is pop over to valuebuilder.com/apply. Please tell us who you are and a little bit about your firm, and we will follow up with you and walk you through pricing for Value Builder, along with any other questions that you might have about earning your Certified Value Builder designation. So please pop over to valuebuilder.com/apply. I know we've taken a couple of questions along the way, and thanks Roberto and Joe for those. I'm going to just ask, again, if there are other questions that you have now, please do pop them into the GoToWebinar control panel. I'm happy to answer them in the order in which they appear. The GoToWebinar control panel is on the right-hand side of your screen. You should see the word questions. While you type your questions in there, I will let you know that one of the most common questions we get is, what do you do with business owners that come to Value Builder to get their score? So as I mentioned earlier, when you start with us, we give you some embed code that allows you to put the Value Builder questionnaire, our intake questionnaire essentially, the first of our 15 tools, into your own website. And about 80% of the business owners that have completed the Value Builder questionnaire have done so through the website of one of our advisors. Now, that means that there's 20% that have done it somewhere else. The other place that you can complete your Value Builder questionnaire is through our website at valuebuilder.com. When a business owner does complete their questionnaire on our website, we then pass that lead, if you will, on to our certified value builder in that local market. So if you're a value builder advisor based in Chicago, and we have a business owner complete the value builder questionnaire from our website that's based in Chicago, we then assign that lead to you. So we never compete with you. We never do our own coaching. 100% of the business owners that complete the value builder questionnaire do so shoulder to shoulder with a certified value builder, the name we give the advisors who license our tool. With that, I'm going to throw it over to Jesse again. Jesse, if you have any parting comments or questions or final thoughts, please feel free to ask them now or raise those now. If you don't have any other questions, I will just again ask you to head over to valuebuilder.com/apply and complete the short question there, and we'll reach out to you with additional information. Jesse, anything else from you at this point?
No, nothing to add. Great presentation, John. Sorry we had a little trouble there getting started, but it all worked out in the end.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, again, thanks for having me, and look forward to further conversation. Valuebuilder.com/apply if you're interested in more information.